Looking through the rest of your testimony here, and especially the emphasis on Senator Specter's bill, which I heard from an individual that stopped by that's outside of my district that kind of has the feel of one of my counties around Butler County here, and said people are against amnesty. And I would say if you do a poll, you're going to find the majority of people are against amnesty. And I know they want to try and spin it as a different, well, it's really not amnesty. They can work 3 years. They can do this. They can do that. They can pay a $500 fine. But we're forgiving, a violation of our laws through that process that Specter's proposing. And if you watch the commercials that are out there now, that Senator Santorum is strongly in favor of what we really need for immigration reform. Senator Specter is totally on the opposite side of Rick Santorum on this issue. He's advocating an amnesty program. He's advocating, in part of that bill, as I understand it, that some illegal immigrants who would be then allowed to be here as an illegal immigrant, but they would be allowed to work, would actually have to pay prevailing wage to them at a higher rate than possibly some American workers. I mean, the bill is totally flawed, and when you ask for our help in advocating for change with Congress, I mean, the majority of us are going to be advocating for the House of Representatives type change, and Representative Tancredo's type changes that he's advocating for, because we want to see the border secure and we want to see the illegal immigrant population turn back to their homes, and I think we need to do that through shutting off the faucet that they get through these illegal jobs.
With respect to amnesty, amnesty is defined as unlimited forgiveness, and that's not what is in Senator Specter's bill. With respect to agriculture,
I know I've heard that story. I've heard the definition of amnesty, and for the average American walking the streets and you say, we're going to allow someone who's illegally been here for the last 5 to 10 years or 3 years to find a way to stay here legally without going back and coming in legally, the majority of people, even though it might not meet your dictionary definition of amnesty, classify that as amnesty. So, we talked about the words earlier. Clinton tried to figure out what is, and we have someone who needs a definition of what intentional is. Well, amnesty by the read of the average person on the street that hears that we want to propose to give illegals some legal status here without them going back and coming into our country legally, they see that as amnesty, no matter what you spin it, no matter what you call it.
Well, just to remind you, there are 2 million agricultural workers in this country. 75% or more are here illegally. If you send them home, what happens to our food supply? I think that's a national security issue. I would strongly suggest that having a food supply that's produced externally in Latin America or South America or China is not in our national interests. We see what happens with oil, the fact that hostile regimes produce it and then we have to purchase it from them. What about food? I think that's a crucial problem, and it's going to have to be balanced with these other concerns that you've mentioned.
Well, I believe that our food supply should also be generated internally, and we in fact have done that for many, many decades and shipped it to Russia and many other nations that needed our grain and needed our food. I don't think that's going to change because we do have good business people that are farmers. Not every business person is a good business person. Some business people go out of business because they make bad decisions. And I don't think we're in jeopardy of our food supply if we enforce our law. And I think it's a flawed argument to try and present. I know it's one that's out there from your side, and I don't buy it. I think a lot of my colleagues don't buy it. I think just based on the contradictions internally within testimony from Gary Swan and even from yourself that it's not going to happen. So, but I do appreciate your testimony, Representative Hutchinson. Do you have any further questions? Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.